The series begins with a high school student taking a test. Suddenly, he gets a nosebleed, which makes him need a new answer sheet. Unfortunately, this eats up his time, and he gets really mad because he can't finish the exam. Just when he feels like giving up, a girl from his school shows up and gives him a strange cookie. Meanwhile, a woman named Soo-young, who works in a factory, calls her little sister to say sorry because she can't attend the school meeting. She has a job interview instead. Her sister, Min-young, feels powerless and can't do anything about it. At the same time, the school brings in a famous consultant named Sung-pil to help students get into college. Meanwhile, Min-young suddenly gave money to her roommate, Hee-jin, so she wouldn't have to move rooms. They'd both live in the school dorm, but Hee-jin and their other friends were surprised by Min-young's actions. They knew Min-young came from a poor family, so they were shocked she could afford to give away money like that. Later on, the students had to study on their own in the library because the teachers were busy with a ceremony for consultant Sung-pil. But one student named Yoo-jung couldn't concentrate, so she went to the restroom carrying a bunch of cookies. Coincidentally, Hee-jin and her friends were also heading to the restroom. Soon after, Min-young passed by and heard Hee-jin screaming. When Min-young checked, she found Yoo-jung dead, with a smile on her face. Meanwhile, Soo-young was in a job interview with her manager, Kyu-num, for a permanent position. But Kyu-num suggested dinner before making a decision. Soo-young didn't have much choice and agreed to Kyu-num's offer. After work, Kyu-num picked her up. However, Soo-young's jealous friend recorded the incident. Luckily, Min-young arrived just in time and stopped them. Soo-young and Min-young ended up in Kyu-num's car. But on the way, Min-young asked to be dropped off because she wanted to walk home with her sister. On their way home, Min-young mentioned she wanted to stay home because her dorm was getting renovated. At that time, Soo-young seemed happy because Min-young bought her clothes and gave her a bunch of money, though Soo-young wasn't sure where it all came from. Min-young explained it was from her scholarship since she was in Class S, the smartest students' class in school. She even asked her sister to stop working, because the scholarship money would cover them for the next 4 years. Once they arrived home, Soo-young cleaned Min-young's room and did her laundry. Meanwhile, Min-young felt uneasy recalling the incident at school earlier when she was questioned by Detective Yoonbom about Yoo-jung's death. However, she denied seeing any cookies or anything like what Hee-jin and the other student mentioned. At that time, Detective Yoonbom was confused by Min-young's statement. Meanwhile, Soo-young found the cookies Min-young took from Yoo-jung in her school uniform while tidying up, but she didn't suspect anything and just put them away. The next day, Kyu-num called Soo-young to his office, pretending to discuss permanent employee appointments. After a long talk, Soo-young said goodbye and gave Kyu-num the biscuits she found in Min-young's pocket the day before. As Soo-young was about to start working, Min-young called asking about the biscuits in her pocket. When she heard Soo-young had given them to Kyu-num, Min-young hung up and rushed to Soo-young's workplace. Coincidentally, Kyu-num appeared eating the biscuit. The following day, Kyu-num led a morning ceremony with his employees. During the ceremony, the biscuit's effects suddenly kicked in, making Kyu-num act strangely. Soon after, Min-young arrived and talked to Soo-young. She explained she was upset about the biscuits because her boyfriend made them with love, regardless of her appearance or scars. That's why she cherished them so much. When Min-young got to school, she quickly asked her classmate Hoo-soo to take a picture together, which she sent to Soo-young as proof that Hoo-soo was her boyfriend. But Hoo-soo was actually just paid to act as her boyfriend. Min-young also gave a gift to the homeroom teacher, so he'd tell Soo-young when she arrived. As she left the teacher's room, Min-young bumped into Sung-pil for the first time. Soon after, Sung-pil invited Min-young to study with the top 5 students. When they met, Sung-pil asked Ji-yi to pretend she transferred from Class A to fill Yoo-jung's spot in Class S after her recent passing. Then Sung-pil asked Min-young and Hee-jin to write about Yoo-jung's incident. In the evening, Soo-young wanted Min-young to meet Hoo-soo, but Min-young got upset and went outside to calm down. Suddenly, Kyu-num, who had escaped from the hospital, barged into Soo-young's house, demanding the biscuits she gave him earlier because he was addicted to their effects. With some force, Kyu-num managed to enter Soo-young's house. While buying drinks at a store, Min-young bumped into Hoo-soo by accident. There, she invited him to the rooftop to chat. Min-young mentioned she didn't like living with her poor sister and hoped the school dorm repairs would finish soon so she could move there. Min-young also explained why people called her the Mask. But in the middle of their talk, Min-young got a message that Soo-young was in trouble. When she tried calling Soo-young, Kyu-num answered instead, demanding to know where the biscuits were, claiming they were made by Min-young's boyfriend, Hoo-soo. Hearing this, Min-young asked Hoo-soo to come over to help Soo-young. When they arrived, Min-young was shocked to find Soo-young held captive by Kyu-num. At that time, Kyu-num threatened to hurt Soo-young if Min-young didn't give him the biscuits. Before going inside, Min-young asked Hoo-soo to help if he got the code. Shortly after, Min-young tried to make a deal with Kyu-num. She asked him to release her sister before she gave him the biscuit, but Kyu-num refused and attacked Min-young to grab the biscuit. Luckily, the police, called by Hoo-soo, caught Kyu-num. But the biscuit Kyu-num took wasn't the real one because Min-young had switched it at the store. After the chaos, Min-young went to the bathroom to clean up. She remembered when she got the scar on her face. Her father used to be violent, causing her mother to leave. Once, her father held Min-young hostage, forcing Soo-young to surrender. Remembering this painful past, Min-young decided to eat the drugged biscuit and fainted. The next day, Soo-young added extra locks to her house because she was scared after what happened. While installing them, Min-young left for school. On the way, Hoo-soo told her he talked with Soo-young, who was curious about the biscuit's ingredients. There, Min-young had admitted that Hoo-soo made the biscuits. Hearing this, Min-young asked Hoo-soo to block her sister's number and forbid her from contacting Soo-young again. On the flip side, Soo-young went to the police station to find out what happened with the biscuits Kyu-num ate yesterday because they made him act strangely. The police said the biscuits were normal and didn't have any drugs. Min-young had switched them for regular ones. Later, Soo-young met the new factory manager, Sang-gil. Sang-gil apologized for Kyu-num's actions and mentioned his daughter, Ji-yi, was in Min-young's class. Ji-yi moved to Class S because the top-ranked student there had died. Soo-young was surprised to hear this. Meanwhile, Yoon-bom finished questioning Min-young. When Min-young returned to the study room, Hee-jin asked about the Yoo-jong incident. Things got tense between Hee-jin and Min-young, but Jin-woo, the top student, defended Min-young. Then Ji-yi suddenly left the room and confessed to Yoon-bom that she indirectly caused Yoo-jong's death because she was obsessed with grades and wanted to be in Class S like Yoo-jong. Detective Yoon-bom was surprised when Ji-yi handed him the biscuit, showing fear because she felt haunted by Yoo-jong. Outside, Min-young called Soo-young, wanting to discuss Yoo-jong's case. Soo-young mentioned she heard about it from Sang-gil, the factory manager, and Ji-yi's dad. But Min-young hung up when she saw Ji-yi and Detective Yoon-bom leaving the room with biscuits. Meanwhile, Ji-yi explained the effects of the biscuits. Just a bite or half a biscuit could improve focus and intelligence. Eating a whole one could make wishes come true. People became addicted to these effects. Ji-yi remembered Yoo-jong studying hard the night before, even moving her desk to the bathroom to avoid sleep. She was determined to stay on top in Class S. Seeing an opportunity, Ji-yi gave Yoo-jong a biscuit, claiming it would help her stay awake and focused. Yoo-jong felt the extraordinary effects after eating it. The next day, all students had to study in the library, while teachers welcomed Sung-pil. Yoo-jong, frustrated she couldn't focus like the night before, asked Ji-yi for more biscuits. Soon after, Ji-yi gave Yoo-jong a lot of biscuits and even put them in Yoo-jong's bag. Yoo-jong was grateful and went straight to the bathroom with many biscuits. Sadly, she ended up eating too many and overdosed, which caused her death. Ji-yi looked scared because she felt haunted by Yoo-jong. Detective Yoon-bom tried to calm Ji-yi and planned to take her to the police station for questioning. But then he got a call, and Min-young caught Ji-yi after overhearing their conversation. Then Min-young made Ji-yi eat a biscuit while questioning her about Yoo-jong's case. At first, Ji-yi admitted to causing Yoo-jong's death, but Min-young reassured her, saying it wasn't her fault. Ji-yi calmed down as the effects of the biscuits kicked in. She cheerfully approached Detective Yunbom and claimed his earlier statements were lies. Suddenly, Ji started talking to herself, crying tears of joy because she achieved her dream of getting into Class S and making her parents proud. But then she fainted with a smile on her face, just like Yujong. Coincidentally, the fire alarm went off, causing all the students to gather outside. Jinwoo pulled Minyoung aside and told her he managed to take the biscuits from Detective Yunbom. The next day, Detective Yunbom took Ji Yi to the hospital, but she didn't wake up. He asked the hospital to notify him when she did. Then he returned to school to investigate the connection between Yujong's case and the teacher's biscuits. However, the teacher refused to cooperate, even though Ji Yi had a similar experience. At that time, Detective Yunbom suspected Jinwoo of taking the biscuits Ji Yi gave him. When Jinwoo came to the teacher's room, things got chaotic. Soon after, Minyoung took Jinwoo to the gym to question him. Jinwoo claimed he knew everything, including that Yujong died from eating biscuits sold by Minyoung. This explained Minyoung's odd behavior when Soo-young took the biscuit from her pocket. Jinwoo then told Minyoung to talk to a woman named Wonjo, who just arrived. There, Wonjo explained that Jinwoo was a new employee there to help with the school situation. Wonjo revealed she was part of the team selling the drug biscuits and promised to help Minyoung by managing Detective Yunbom, so he wouldn't suspect her. Meanwhile, Yunbom is questioning Q-Num in prison to learn about the biscuits. Q-Num's testimony matched Ji Yi's, claiming the biscuits made his dreams come true after just one. This made Yunbom's job even harder, especially since the doctor found no suspicious substances in Q-Num's body after eating the biscuits. At that time, Q-Num also confessed that Soo-young got the biscuit from her sister, Minyoung. Upon hearing this, Yunbom rushed to Soo-young's house to investigate Minyoung's connection to the biscuits. At first, Soo-young was hesitant to talk due to past issues with the police regarding her father. Yunbom seemed to suspect Minyoung of distributing the biscuits, but eventually, Soo-young agreed to help prove Minyoung's innocence. Soon after, Yunbom asked Soo-young to get information from Hoo-soo, Minyoung's paid boyfriend. Soo-young quickly arranged to meet Hoo-soo that evening to confirm if he made the biscuits. Meanwhile, Yunbom visited Ji Yi in the hospital. Ji Yi had regained consciousness and was ready to go home with her family. Surprisingly, she accused Yunbom and refused his help. Once home, Ji Yi couldn't focus on studying and turned to the biscuits again, hoping they'd help her achieve her dream of being first in Class S and making her parents proud. Then, as Detective Yunbom was heading home, his boss called and scolded him for not solving the case at Zhong High School or Minyoung School. Because of this failure, Yunbom got transferred to another department, which stressed him out even more. Meanwhile, at home, Minyoung was still thinking about what Hoo-soo told her. He mentioned that Soo-young wanted to meet to ask about making the biscuits. The next day, Soo-young got news from Sang-jil that his daughter Ji Yi had passed away. Shocked, Soo-young tried calling Yunbom, but someone else answered, saying Yunbom was in a coma after an accident. In Class S, the teacher announced Ji Yi's death. Realizing 2 Class S students had died, the teacher decided to limit the class to only 9 students from now on. At that moment, Minyoung was shocked and felt uneasy towards Jinwoo. When leaving class, Jinwoo told Hoo-soo to stay away from Minyoung because he admitted he liked her. Instead, Jinwoo suggested Hoo-soo like Hee-jin. Jinwoo even gave Hoo-soo money to stay away from him and Minyoung. Meanwhile, in the teacher's lounge, Sung-pil meets Jae-yoon, the policeman assigned to protect the school. Jae-yoon's job is not only to keep the school safe, but also to solve recent problems there. Elsewhere, Minyoung talks to Wonjo about the Ji Yi incident and Yunbom's accident. There, Wonjo explains that it was all part of the plan by the chef, who runs the biscuit business. Wonjo doesn't know the chef's identity, but the chef knows everything. At that time, Wonjo also tells Minyoung that Yunbom had the accident because he wanted to work with Soo-young to uncover the truth about the biscuits. This shocks Minyoung. On the other hand, Soo-young, distracted by Yunbom's accident, goes to Minyoung's school alone to investigate. There she bumps into a woman carrying lots of drug biscuits. In the cafeteria, Min-young worries about Soo-young's safety, considering Won-jo's warning about her sister getting involved with the biscuits. She tries calling Soo-young, but is interrupted by Sung-pil, who wants to chat. When Sung-pil reached the study room, he informed Min-young about Detective Yoon-bom's serious accident, revealing that he was there and saved Yoon-bom. Surprisingly, Sung-pil showed his identity card as a police intelligence officer, shocking Min-young, who had known him only as a student consultant. She learned he was actually investigating the drug biscuit issue. Meanwhile, Soo-young encounters Won-jo and tries to get information about the biscuits. Realizing Soo-young fell into his trap, Won-jo directs her to the basement where students' dorm uniforms are laundered. In the basement, Soo-young feels scared, noticing the chef's CCTV cameras. However, her attention shifts when Won-jo discovers a biscuit. Seeing that, Soo-young grabs it, warning of its danger. Won-jo then invites her into the laundry room to show her where the biscuits came from. Meanwhile, Sung-pil is questioning Min-young to uncover the mastermind behind the biscuit business. Initially reluctant, she begins to cooperate after Sung-pil assures her of his capabilities and trustworthiness as a police officer. In the laundry room, Soo-young finally confronts Won-jo. After some small talk, Won-jo reveals a large stack of biscuits to Soo-young. Alarmed, Soo-young tries to contact the police, but Won-jo contacts Min-young, who is with Sung-pil. There, Won-jo informs Min-young that Soo-young has entered the laundry room and is calling the police. Urged to solve the problem, Min-young rushes to Soo-young's aid, but she's followed by Sung-pil, who is suspicious of the situation. Inside the room, Soo-young hesitates to report after hearing that Won-jo has contacted Min-young. Won-jo claims Min-young is one of their employees, implying her involvement in the recent biscuit case. Soo-young is skeptical and wants to hear Min-young's side directly. Won-jo asserts that the money Min-young gave Soo-young was from selling biscuits, each worth 3 million won, much more than Soo-young's salary. Moreover, Won-jo warned Soo-young to stop investigating the biscuits, or else she might meet the same fate as Detective Yoon-bom. Upon hearing this threat, Soo-young panicked and attempted to flee, but Won-jo quickly locked the door, trapping her inside. There, Soo-young pleaded to be set free, promising to remain silent about the incident. She also begged Min-young to help her get out of the situation. However, Won-jo refused to release her, believing Min-young's performance had been satisfactory so far. When Won-jo mentioned Min-young's facial scar, Soo-young became enraged and attacked her. Fortunately, Min-young intervened just in time to stop the altercation. Soo-young expressed frustration that Min-young often used her injury as an excuse, revealing her own scar from their father's violence. After the argument, Soo-young and Min-young received good news from the chef, who forgave Soo-young's actions and agreed to release her unharmed. However, there was a catch. Soo-young had to eat one biscuit, as the chef was curious about her dreams. Won-jo also warned Soo-young about the effects of the biscuit, stating that consuming more than 2 in a day could lead to addiction and overdose, like previous victims. On another note, Sung-pil had a disagreement with the surveillance operator, as he wasn't allowed to check the CCTV footage to track Min-young's whereabouts. Despite his efforts, he couldn't obtain the necessary permits and eventually gave up. Leaving the operator's room, Sung-pil bumped into Jae-yoon, an old friend from the police force. At that time, Jae-yoon asked about Sung-pil's visit to the school and the circumstances that led to him being transferred from his department. However, Sung-pil evaded the question, simply stating he was investigating something before leaving. Meanwhile, Soo-young offered to take Min-young's place to shield her from danger, even pleading with the chef to accept her proposal. After consuming a biscuit, Soo-young fainted, mirroring the fate of previous victims. Consequently, Min-young sought Hoo-soo's help to rush Soo-young to the hospital and advised him to stay by her side until she regained consciousness. Upon returning, Min-young confided in Sung-pil about the illicit biscuit operation, revealing that the school's laundry room was being used for production. Willing to cooperate fully, Min-young agreed to provide all the relevant data in exchange for Sung-pil's swift action to resolve the case legally. Fearing for Su Yong's safety, Min Young was determined to extricate herself from the illegal business. Without hesitation, Sung Pil agreed to her terms. Eventually, Su Yong woke up and Hoo-soo quickly called the nurse. To her surprise, Su Yong saw Min Young unconscious beside her. This left Su Yong shocked and disheartened. Learning that Min Young was in a coma, Su Yong felt increasingly saddened and hopeless. Shortly after, Won-jo approached Su Yong, not to offer support but to convince her to stay silent about the incident. Won-jo promised that the chef would cover Min Young's medical expenses and provide for Su Yong. With little choice, Su Yong reluctantly agreed. Meanwhile, Sung Pil worried about Jae-yoon's probing questions jeopardizing his mission. Frustrated, Sung Pil confronted Jae-yoon. The following day, Sung Pil visited Min Young in the hospital. He tried to access her phone, which coincidentally lacked a security password. At that time, Su Yong, wearing Min Young's clothes, snuck into the laundry room. She was mad at Won-jo for what happened to Min Young. With a dagger in hand, she locked Won-jo in the room. Soon after, Ju-ju and Hoo-soo showed up, mistaking Su Yong for Min Young. Suddenly, Su Yong ordered Won-jo to call the chef. She threatened to hurt Won-jo if the chef didn't come. The chef offered to make a medicine to wake up Min Young, but Su Yong didn't trust him at first. After seeing the medicine work, Su Yong let Ju-ju take it to Min Young. Shortly after, Ju-ju returned with Hoo-soo, who had been spying. There, Ju-ju made Hoo-soo eat the biscuits. When Hoo-soo got dizzy, Ju-ju gave him the medicine. Not long after, Hoo-soo woke up, surprising everyone. Ju-ju took Hoo-soo back to school. Meanwhile, the chef kept trying to get Su Yong to replace Min Young. Despite the chef proving the antidote, Su Yong remains doubtful and threatens to harm Won-jo unless the chef wakes up Min Young. In response, the chef warns that if Su Yong harms Won-jo, Min Young will suffer. Fearing for Min Young's safety, Su Yong rushes to the hospital and finds her unharmed. Meanwhile, Sung Pil receives a call from his leader, Do-hoon, who demands the biscuit recipe. There, Sung Pil explains he hasn't found the chef yet. Surprisingly, Jae-yoon also works for Do-hoon, but hasn't found the recipe either. Do-hoon warns Sung Pil to find the recipe quickly or face consequences like Jae-yoon. The following day at the hospital, Hoo-soo passes on a message to Min Young before escorting Su Yong, who had fainted from eating biscuits, to the hospital. Essentially, Min Young reveals that she has always known about Su Yong's struggles and advises her to lead a better life, unlike her, who had to sell dangerous things. Eventually, Su Yong leaves the factory and enrolls as a new student at Min Young's school. Meanwhile, in class, Sung Pil offers Hoo-soo some advice as his grades have recently declined. Afterwards, Sung Pil asks Hoo-soo to call Su Yong urgently regarding Min Young. After class, Hoo-soo tries to contact Su Yong, but instead encounters her in disguise. Long story short, Su Yong waits in the teacher's room while the teachers check her files. She disguises herself as a top student who moved from the United States due to her parents' company there. Once the check is done, Sung Pil takes Su Yong to class, engaging in small talk. When they arrive, Su Yong introduces herself under a pseudonym and sits with a female student named Da-yoon. Soon after, the sports class began with swimming as the theme for the day. Hoo-soo seemed confused, still thinking about his encounter with Su Yong earlier that morning. She had asked him to pretend not to know her to help Min Young wake up from her coma. Afterward, Su Yong arrived in her swimsuit, but was approached by a classmate named Min-jun, who initially seemed friendly, but then started teasing her, leading to a confrontation. Shortly after, Su Yong went to the dormitory with Da-yoon. There, Da-yoon revealed that the room used to belong to Min Young, and shared how sad Min Young's life had been because of her injury. Feeling the heavy atmosphere, Su Yong asked Da-yoon to go back to her room so she could pack, but Da-yoon insisted on helping. Meanwhile, Hee-jin was upset with Hoo-soo after learning that Jin-woo had pressured him to like him and asked him to stay away from Min Young. Turns out, Hee-jin actually had feelings for Jin-woo. However, Hoo-soo explained that he couldn't refuse Jin-woo's demands because Jin-woo had helped pay his school fees. Hoo-soo then shared his family's struggles, with his father leaving due to debt and his mother battling cancer, which made him willing to obey Jin-woo's orders. The next day, it's revealed that Da-yoon stole Soo-young's underwear because Min-jun, who's in love with Soo-young, instructed her to do so. Da-yoon, often bullied, was almost harassed by Min-jun and his friends for stealing new underwear, as Min-jun desired Soo-young's used clothes. However, when Min-jun was about to harm Da-yoon, he stumbled upon a biscuit hidden in the underwear. Soo-young, on the other hand, focuses on studying the background of each student and their parents, data provided by Wonjo to boost biscuit sales at school. If Soo-young manages to increase sales by 7%, the chef promises to create an antidote for Min-young's coma. This motivates her to sneak into Min-young's school. Besides that, Wonjo gave Soo-young the exam answer key and a drug biscuit, instructing her to eat it to memorize the answers. However, she couldn't find the biscuit when she looked for it. Meanwhile, Min-jun attempted to bully Da-yoon by forcing her to eat the biscuits. When he threw one, Hoo-soo intervened, leading to a confrontation. On the flip side, Da-yoon returns to Soo-young's room to give back her underwear. This angers Soo-young, who immediately demands to know where the biscuits are. Scared, Da-yoon reveals their location, making Soo-young confront Min-jun and his crew, who had just attacked Hoo-soo. While trying to rescue Hoo-soo, Soo-young threatens to expose Min-jun's assault on Hoo-soo through a video. Unfazed, Min-jun still refuses, so Soo-young threatens to inform his parents, armed with knowledge of Min-jun's background. This forces Min-jun to yield, allowing Soo-young to sell him drug biscuits. The following day, Soo-young checks on Hoo-soo's condition, who in turn asks about her plan to wake Min-young by selling biscuits. Though initially surprised, Soo-young admits it's just the start. Hearing this, Hoo-soo offers his assistance, hoping to see Min-young, his beloved, awaken soon. Soon after, the scene shifts to how Wonjo distributes the biscuits to customers. Sneakily, Wonjo hides the biscuits in laundered clothes of students, sending them off without any suspicion. These pricey biscuits fetch high rates because they're sold to affluent students or heirs of wealthy families. Unfortunately, this business thrives unchecked. Meanwhile, Wonjo chats with the chef about Soo-young's stellar performance. Seeking assurance, Wonjo requests the chef's commitment to support him in critical situations like the recent one. Curious, he checks about the chef's true identity, but is met with refusal. On the other hand, the chef shifted the conversation to Sung-pil, who was trying to disrupt their business. It seemed the chef already knew Sung-pil's true identity, and was aware that Min-young had shared a lot of information with him. Despite this, the chef remained unfazed because he had a plan to deal with Sung-pil. And so, the series will be continued. The moral lesson from this series is remember, folks, not all cookies crumble in your favor. Those sweet treats might come with a side of chaos, so stick to snacks that won't leave you in a sticky situation. Just say no to mystery munchies.